I don't know if the mic is picking this up, but there's cop sirens in the background, which is very appropriate because we're going to talk about the fundamentals of anarchism in this video that you're about to watch. Watch it. Hello, I'm TV's Thought Slime. Welcome to Q and Anarchy, the only show on the internet where some schlubby white dude lectures you about his political beliefs. Right? Anarchism. What is it? When most people think of an anarchist, they think of someone like the Joker, just a horrible monster person that revels in chaos and pointless destruction, pathologically disregards all rules. The pop culture definition of an anarchist is someone who is opposed to order, but that's not us. That's not what we like. Ever see this symbol before? Or this symbol, which looks a little bit worse? That's an A and an O, and it stands for Anarchy is Order. That might sound like a contradiction to you. At one point, it did to me as well. But anarchists don't oppose order, or rules, or the Batman. What we oppose are hierarchy, authority, and oppression. To put it simply, an anarchist is someone who doesn't believe that anyone should have power over anyone else for any reason, unless it absolutely cannot be avoided. All authority is considered illegitimate by default, and must prove itself to be both necessary and beneficial, or be dismantled and replaced with a more egalitarian system. You may have heard that anarchists are people that oppose the government, but don't really have any set political beliefs. That's a purposeful misdirection by authority figures who want to distance anarchist practice from anarchist philosophy to make us look like mindless edgelords. And you know what? It worked. While it's true that by definition anarchists must oppose the state, we don't just oppose the state. We oppose all forms of domination and hierarchy. That's the definition that has a centuries-old tradition attached to it. You might notice that the words anarchy and hierarchy sound kind of similar. That's because they have the same root word, archos, meaning ruler or authority figure. Anarchism can be broken down into the words an, meaning without or in contradiction to, and archos, meaning rulers or chiefs or big kahunas or top dogs or whatever the fuck. Essentially, anarchism means without rulersism, and hierarchy means a bunch of rulers. Words. Think of our current society like a pyramid scheme. There's a whole lot of people at the bottom and only a few people at the very top making all of the money and having all of the power. That's what anarchists call a vertical power structure. What we prefer is a horizontal power structure, wherein everyone participating has equal power and direct control over their lives and the institutions which shape their lives. We believe that authority figures don't have everyone's best interests at heart. Actually, we believe that they can't. The nature of authority is such that by having it, you're incentivized to keep it. So even if you start out with good intentions, the very fact that you have power over other people will pervert those intentions. Ever notice that politicians don't really seem to keep their promises? Well, what's more likely? That all politicians are corrupt just because they're bad people? Or that the institutions and beliefs that shape those politicians are corrupting influences? To that end, we're firmly against representative democracy, where everyone votes for one person or a small group of people to be in charge of everyone and everything, and they get to decide what to do with all of your stuff. Instead, we prefer direct democracy or consensus decision-making, where everyone gets a direct say in how the community is managed, rather than granting that privilege to some elite to represent those interests for you by proxy. Power in an anarchist society should be decentralized, meaning that it's diffuse and not concentrated in the hands of a few people or one central body. Wherever authority exists, if indeed it must exist at all, it should be mutually consensual and revocable by either party at any time. That means no bosses, no cops, no presidents, no rich people, no masters, nobody telling you what to do or how to live. Can any of that happen? Is it realistic? We'll discuss that in a future episode. But here's a spoiler alert. Yes, it can. It has happened already, and it will happen again. Like all people on the left, and all real anarchists are on the left, anarchists have one hobby that they like a whole hell of a lot more than anything else in the world: disagreeing with each other. There are as many different strains of anarchism as there are molecules in the observable universe, so I'm only going to explain a few of the major ones right now. Each of these tendencies will probably get its own video at some point, so if I don't do a good job explaining it or I'm not thorough enough, it's okay. It's not a big deal. It's just an intro. Anarcho-communists, or ANCOMs, believe in a stateless, classless, moneyless society organized according to the principle, from each according to their ability, to each according to their need. Unlike other communists, they don't believe that a period of strict government control is necessary to transition into a utopian society. Syndicalists believe that radical labor unions are the best method of achieving an anarchist society, by directly leveraging the power of labor over the economy. To date, they're the most successful tendency at doing it, at doing anarchy. Egoism is an ideology that bills itself as a rejection of ideology. Egoists pursue radical individualism and try to purge their minds of sacred thought, or spooks, as they like to call them incessantly. Mostly based on the writings of Max Stirner, who's a meme person. This one's pretty obvious. Anarcho-feminists view patriarchy, i.e. male domination over society, as one of the primary examples of a coercive hierarchy. They're right. An anarcho-feminist is someone whose anarchist theory is predominantly related to gender depression. Now, it's worth noting that all intellectually consistent anarchists agree with LGBTQ-positive feminism. The ones who don't are not particularly popular within the larger milieu and can fuck off into a dumpster. Green anarchists focus on the ways in which coercive power structures harm the environment, and how the way that we currently treat the Earth echo the systems of domination that anarchists writ large seek to overthrow. Don't confuse them with primitivists, who are doofuses that believe we should abolish all technology and return to small tribes of hunter-gatherers. Yeah, seriously. I don't like primitivists. Just a bunch of anarchists, just trying to overthrow oppressive hierarchical systems. Don't have to put a label on it. It's not a big deal. If I didn't mention your preferred highly specific strain of anarchism, go ahead and leave a comment below explaining what it is, why it's important to you, and why I'm a complete fraud for leaving it out. And that's basically it. That's all the types of anarchism that anybody wants to talk about. Okay, look. There's one other type, sort of, that we have to talk about, and it's probably the reason half of you clicked on this fucking video. Anarcho-capitalism is a contradiction of terms. They claim to be against the state, but support capitalism, which of course is absurd, because capitalism requires the state to function. I'll talk about that in one of the next few episodes, because I got a whole episode about capitalism, and the ANCAPs are gonna love it. They're gonna truly love it. ANCAPs are not real anarchists, and don't actually oppose the state like they claim. They just want to privatize its functions, making those functions even less accessible to the majority of people, and thus are supporting the literal opposite of anarchism. I made a whole video about them, if you want to watch that. They're doofuses, and they spend a lot of time yelling racial slurs at me for some reason. Anyway, I love making fun of them, and they get really mad about it. That's a truly great question, and I hope you actually asked it because it means you're paying attention. If I'm here telling you that all authority is illegitimate unless it can prove itself otherwise, I can't very well sit here and call myself an authority without proving it, can I? Luckily for me, I'm not gonna call myself an authority. I'm just some guy. I've read a few books, I've spent a lot of time researching anarchist theory, but mostly I'm just a boner nerd with a little audience on YouTube. You should not take my views as sacrosanct. In fact, you shouldn't take me all that seriously to begin with. I'm not smarter than you. I'm not better at synthesizing information than you. So if you'd like further readings, check the description where I have some good stuff for you to download. That primo, uncut anarchist shit. I got a Patreon, who says I don't? It's patreon.com/thoughtslime. Thanks for asking. These are the patrons for March. Big thanks to Ryan William Cox, J Bugs III, Michael Hollenbach, Nicole the Anarchiduck, Matthew, and Chorham. Even bigger thanks to Queen Maxine and Shuds Mackenzie. If you liked seeing those names and those little cartoons, then go ahead and give me some money. And you can be those. Hey, if you like this video, press the like button, why don't you? I'm going to be filling your eyes and brains with all of that good content. So why not subscribe to me and like all my videos, or else we'll never be friends. Every video ends with my cats, that's the Thought Slime guarantee. Engage with me. Engage with my brand. I need your validation, please. I'm so empty on the inside.